Part 5.
Logs equals lookup. Number 0110285. Title: World Domination Proclamation.
Dobry večer. For those of you with no money, no talent, and no time, there's something I'd like to ask you. What do you find enjoyable in your lives? I am Byakuya Togami. That's right, the super high school level heir. As the heir to the Togami family, I am the one and only reason why you should look forward to its future. I am so overwhelmingly above you that we are as far apart as monkeys and the moon. There's something I'd like to ask you, frustrated monkeys. What do you find enjoyable in your lives? Personally, I can't understand what it must be like to live while knowing that your life has no value. But I imagine it's unbearable. That would be why you bully your classmates, you envy your neighbor's new car, you crush excellent subordinates underfoot, you kill children who have a future, you resent the unfairness of talent, and then you destroy the world. Have you ever thrown a fit because you couldn't play the piano well? Have you ever cried into mummy's bosom because you didn't make the soccer team? You'll never advance that way, you're just little babies. Those long limbs of yours are just for show. You have to grow up. Let me ask you, what do you need in order to grow? The answer is an enemy. A powerful enemy to take down and capture. I will become the enemy of the world. I'm saying that I, Byakuya Togami, will become your enemy. You should be sobbing with delight. Now to get to the point, this is a world domination proclamation. Either kill me within the next 24 hours, or else find the pitiful cattle hidden somewhere in this world. If you can fulfill either of these conditions, I will relinquish you to the right to be Byakuya Togami. You may use it to live hard and fast. You may use it to purchase nuclear weapons. You may use it to create a utopia. You may use up my authority and assets however you please. However, if neither condition is fulfilled within 24 hours, I will consider you as having no value after all, and I will take over the world. I will control, and I will assault, and I will crush. I'll prove to you how serious I am about this. I stake the Togami name on it. Well then, Nashaladanu. It sounds just like you. Even I couldn't distinguish the recording I'd just replayed from the real thing. What a beautiful, charming voice. Byakuya-sama had been prepared to deny it, but his expression was serious now. So this is the charlatan who stole everything from me and took my place? I'll concede that they did a good job mimicking my voice. Just good, it's exactly the same. But the speech itself is third-rate. I despair to think of how something like this was broadcast across the whole world while attributed to me. Really? But it does have that authentic Byakuya Togami feel. What did you say? Huh? What have you been watching me for this whole time? If you're so incompetent that you can't even spot something like this correctly, you shouldn't have the honor of writing Journey Under the Midnight Sun. Why don't you hand over the title of Blue Ink? My deepest apologies. I guess I made him mad. Only someone losing against the world would make a world domination proclamation. It's only frustrated losers who desire to have the world subdued under their control. Now that you mention it, the speech did seem designed to provoke people. There's nothing an oaf finds more stimulating than watching someone else acting like even more of an oaf than they are. Well, that's unfortunate. We can assume that my imposter has a severe inferiority complex. There's no doubt that they've been ignored by the world, living life like a good-for-nothing. That's how they can make such an overcompensating proclamation. Well, you dismiss people as easily as breathing, don't you? You wouldn't take over the world then? Do you announce, "I will now commence eating bread," each time you eat some bread? There's no need to proclaim something that you could do whenever you felt the whim. Oh, you're very straightforward about your deflection, Byakuya-sama. What is this pitiful cattle referring to? I have absolutely no idea, except do not hesitate without my permission. I can make a guess. What a coincidence. I can too. They might be referring to that. But even if they were, then how does that person impersonating you know about that? There's no need to reason that one out. We will capture them and hear it from them firsthand. Correct? As you say, Byakuya-sama. When did this waste of a speech air? Oh, about an hour ago, right at 6 p.m. The deadline is tomorrow, also at 6. So as far as time goes, we don't really need that much. Excuse me? The Czech Republic is 7 hours behind Japan. There's plenty of time to expose the identity of the imposter, prove my innocence, and then fly back home in time for tea. And we can make it to school on Monday too. We had come to Prague for the weekend, while we were off school. I'll grant that we're enrolled in classes, but I really don't think that Byakuya-sama needs to go to so much trouble to attend every class when his schedule is already so packed. At any rate, Hope's Academy doesn't even require students to attend all of their classes. Well, he's always said something like, "Being present on time is the least I can do. I'll stake the Togami name on it." And he's always followed through on that every single day. Byakuya-sama, if you don't make it back in time for Monday, I'm still going to write everything faithfully in Journey Under the Midnight Sun. I'm not doing you any favors on this one, I said, trying to light a fire under him. But Byakuya-sama just glared at me, eyes filled with irritation. Are you mocking me? Are you saying this mere imposter is going to give me any trouble? I didn't mean, let me tell you right now, sometimes you try to act sassy, but if you think you can get away with that just because you're a little older than me... Suddenly there was a gust of air. A tepid wind blew through the alleyway, right as I tried to fix my now disorderly bangs. I heard a roar. It split open in the sky, the ground shook, and Prague's famous stone paving started jutting up in places, leaving holes. Far in the distance I saw black smoke. I don't have much opportunity to see my power from an objective standpoint, but that was bad enough to send me careening into self-loathing. And so began our 24 hours of despair. Part 7. We didn't have time to despair. The back alley was still shaking when an armoured car burst into it. I stood to block the way, protecting Byakuya-sama as he sat calmly on the wooden box. I don't know how effective that gesture was, but either way, the car stopped about 5 meters in front of me. The hatch at the top opened, and armed soldiers kept jumping out and out like it was a very green armoured clown car, before finally, a disproportionately sweet-looking girl appeared from inside. Her skin was pale enough to show her veins. Her eyes made her look the highest of high class. Her hair fluttered elegantly, even in the turbulent wind. The future sovereign of the kingdom of Novoselec, the super high school level princess, Sonia Nevermind. Lend me your ears! Princess Sonia stood beautifully on top of the armoured car, pointing down at us. I have found you, Togami-san. This was a piece of put your hands up cake. Hey, princess idiot, what was that crash just now? What a question to ask, coming from the person who ordered it, too. Oh my, you look like you walked straight out of Harenchi Gakuen. Princess Sonia hastily covered her eyes. Togami-san, perhaps you have not noticed, but you are wearing nothing but your underwear. This is a towel, not underwear, so there's no need to be embarrassed. Concealing your groin with a towel, you are truly a Japanese boy. Much like Ken Takakura. It's raining blades again today. Answer me already. I've received a notice that one of the Togami conglomerate's artificial satellites has crashed into an island somewhere in the Mediterranean. What a dreary choice of attack and target. If they wanted an island, they should have taken aim at Great Britain. They missed their chance to wipe up those disgusting jellied eels off the face of the earth. Sonia's son, this is a misunderstanding, I explained hastily. Oh my, if it isn't Blue Ink-san, good day to you, Princess Sonia smiled, calling me by my code name the way she always did. Might this be your accomplice? Please listen to me. I would like to say that there is nothing to argue here, but I do owe you some courtesy as a classmate. I have no objections. Please speak. We fell into a trap. A trap? Whose? We don't know yet, but they stole every last bit of Byakuya-sama's name and influence. Oh, they must be quite the master thief. Were they wearing a red jacket? Or a green one? The World Domination Proclamation was the imposter's doing, but Byakuya-sama here is the real one. Even if you might be a little taken aback by his new perverted fashion sense, with just the glasses and a towel. Where the hell did you think that was necessary to say? I do not wish to doubt you, Blue Ink-san, but the voice print of the World Domination Proclamation is a perfect match with Togami-san's. Or do you think that there is more than one Akira Ishida-san? You were certainly prepared to be able to confirm voice prints, weren't you, Princess Idiot? Prepared? Why the hell didn't you come to the Church of Bones? Huh? Why didn't you attend the meeting for the Council of Global Controllers? Well, that is... You see, here's the thing. Princess Sonia was conspicuously disorganized, touching her hair ribbon needlessly. Seeing as it was a highly confidential meeting that was attacked, suspicion falls on those with insider info. That being the case, you're the most suspicious of all, being late. Now answer me. What were you doing, and where? Are you playing Ace Attorney, perchance? Try again with the right publisher this time. Well, everybody, please take care of Togami-san now. Princess Sonia, exit stage left. Countless guns are pointed in our direction. The murderous intent in the air skyrocketed. It was enough to make me choke. We may have the special larger-than-life qualities of the super high school level secretary and super high school level heir, but neither of us are the action movie type. There was no doubt that we'd be Swiss cheese as soon as they pulled their triggers. The soldiers in an armoured car blocked escape in front of us. Behind us? Behind us? Wait, do I hear an engine roaring? Is that a black Mercedes-Benz coming this way? As the Mercedes continued at terrifying speed, the back door opened and a girl jumped out. Her red hair was the most noticeable thing about her, but she was also big-breasted too. It's... And just when I thought that she was squatting down low, chow time! She leapt over Byakuya-sama and me to attack the soldiers head-on. The soldiers were thrown into chaos by the sudden attack, and even though they were still aiming at us with the intent to shoot us down, the girl struck first, knocking them down one after another, using an electric guitar of all things. Out of sheer habit, even though we didn't really have any time to spare, I put a finger to my temple.
Dogs equals search result number 833029191. Class musical instrument. Title Gibson Explorer Elbow Cut. A guitar used by Eric Clapton, first sold in 1958. It caused a stir with its novel look with a bold cut at the end of the body. In the present day, it is a limited edition model sold only in custom shops. It costs 657,000 yen, or roughly $5,600 in US dollars.
At some point, the Mercedes had pulled up next to us. The driver rolled down the window. Hey, rich kid, need a lift? I had no idea, but the man driving the car looked like he was having the time of his life. Beggars can't be choosers. We jumped in the car and accelerated again. That was enough to get the soldiers to move out of the way. The Mercedes just barely scraped past the armoured car, breaking out of the narrow alleyway. I could hear Princess Sonia's voice amongst all the gunshots. God damn it, you motherfucker! Part 8. This is a pretty old meme, but I'm not sure what else to say here. So in the immortal words of a Haruki Murakami character, yada yada. Well, I guess that could be a JoJo thing too. The driver kept rambling on with meaningless blather. The girl riding shotgun didn't react at all. Her face was as blank as a no mask. Both of them looked around our age. Man, this feels great. They've got a set market price for a Mercedes in Prague. A black Mercedes is a pretty bad luck though. Ahaha! Bumpy roads are so much fun. I'm gonna bite my tongue. Oh, that reminds me, how about it? You want a drink? It'll be proof that we met. It's not drunk driving until you're 20. He leaned towards us, pulling out a small bottle. Pilsner Urquell. Byakuya-sama reached to take the bottle. You know about it? You know, a certain famous, Führer usually hated booze like a sin, but here in Prague he had himself some anyway. The day he conquered Czechoslovakia. The beer he drank in celebration was a Pilsner Urquell. If you're going for irony, I'm going to kill you. Poppycock, it's obvious I'm just kissing your ass and groveling since you're from a bigger conglomerate than me. Your conglomerate? I cut without thinking in. It's the Ketoin conglomerate. You ever heard of it? Never. That's fine. From the Togami conglomerate's perspective, we must look smaller than an ant. Well, also, man, you're pretty cute. He kept driving while turned around to face us. I'm so weak to cute ones. I like sticking insect pins in their arms and necks. Can you please focus on driving? A real collector's weapon. Just kill me now. Lady, just checking the contraction of your pupils. I can't tell what lies ahead. I could get us to the Scandinavian peninsula just by gazing into your eyes. I'm not pining for the fjords, I said, cutting him off. It had been a while since I'd hated anyone so quickly. Ketoin conglomerate. I remember hearing about it, Byakuya-sama muttered. Way to go, little mister. Let me carry your bags. Should I fetch you some sandals, warm up, some onigiri too? Unlike the typical conglomerate, they're one of those underworld conglomerates, and top of the list even. I haven't met with someone from an underworld conglomerate before. That makes me sound pretty cold, don't you think? The world underworld just has that oomph to it. It's me all tingly when I just can't use foreshadowing, mind scratching my back for a little. So, you're with the Ketoin conglomerate? Hey, bossy boss boy, I can't even believe that you're trying to have a serious conversation with me when you look like you're headed to a toga party. When this is over, I'm going to crash a satellite on you personally. What an honor! I'm Hiroyuki, the grandson of the Ketoin conglomerate's current head, Hatakiyo Ketoin, and that's my twin sister. You may call me Yuika, greeted the girl in the passenger seat, a voice softer than the flutter of a sparrow, turning to face us as slow as a sloth. Her face was disturbingly composed and just as expressionless as before. Big sister and a little brother, right? We make a good team, huh? The boy called Hiroyuki was still turned around the wrong way as he drove. Now then, since introductions are over with, let's get on with the story. What story? Thing that happened just now, World Domination Proclamation. Even the last bosses in Dragon Quest aren't so blatant when they talk these days. I'm not the one who made that proclamation. I know. That was an unexpected answer. They set you up, Richie Rich, but I don't really care about that part. What I found the most interesting about it was the cattle. What are you trying to say? Do you know about the secret to the Togami family's prosperity? Very next moment, Byakuya-sama popped open the bottle, causing the top to get stuck in the roof in the car. Even if I did know about it, what makes you think I'd tell you? He laughed. Wow, I didn't know you could open bottles with your bare hands, Mr. Moneybags Jr. You're ready to party anytime. Hiroyuki-san smiled. I never thought you would tell me. If it were that easy, it wouldn't be very psycho or pop, or psycho-pop. But I did happen to help you out of your predicament there, so maybe you could at least give me a little hint. You don't get anywhere by being stingy if you're going to be like that. Then I could always toss you back out into the crowd out there. And that's it? That's hardly a threat. I'm real bad at being the bad guy. How boring. You ought to try taking the example of Goring and Ribbentrop when they made President Hatcher faint without killing him. Ah, good one. You got some big laughs with that joke there in the Czech Republic. Even Krete-kun would be surprised. Huh? Oh, don't worry about it. It's a pleb thing. Well, you certainly seem to be enjoying yourself. You're in pretty high spirit yourself, uptown boy. Now go on now and save your pilsner, Urquell. No matter how you try to get me to talk, I won't tell you anything about the secret to the Togami family prosperity. I'll stake the Togami name on it. Byakuya-sama raised his bottle and dumped it onto Hiroyuki-san's head. He flashed a cruel smile. Probably talking about the cattle thing made him lose it just a little. Nazidravi. Part 9. The car swerved widely several times as Hiroyuki-san couldn't steer clear very well while drenched in beer, and then a figure appeared in front of the rampaging Mercedes. Out of control, the car drove straight into it. Crash! Crash! It crashed. Actually, not at all, even though I kept waiting for it to. As if the car were a real maiden being gently embraced. Or an egg dropped onto a fluffy futon. There was no real crash at all. Why? I recommend you keep your eyes on the road. If you had continued that way for just a short while longer, your car would have become scrap metal. The figure had stopped the car, one-handed. There was no normal person standing beyond the windshield. It was something beyond our comprehension. If it could stop a car so easily. The brown limbs, extending out from under her sailor fuku, were perfectly muscled. Her long white hair flooded through the sheer force of her spirit, and her eyes were as sharp as an apex predator's. Height, 192 centimeters. Bust, 130 centimeters. The strongest Homo sapiens. The super high school level martial artist Sakura Ugami. Oh ha! Seriously, I'm flooring and we're not budging. Hiroyuki-san wiped the beer off his face. I thought this was a mystery, but it was a sci-fi after all. Oh, well, that's what I usually say here, but I don't know if I really should. Is this world too weird? Is this breaking the fourth wall too much? Is she in the right series? Am I in the right? Is this Danganronpa right now? You and your third-rate conglomerate are the ones in the wrong series. You think? Well, I'm gonna put my hands up and accept a world where people can stop a car with their bare hands. As you should. Get back to bed, amateur. Byakuya-sama rolled down the window in the back seat, calling out to his classmate. Ugami, why are you in Prague? I exist everywhere and nowhere at once. I never thought I'd hear a solution to the measurement problem from you, of all people. It is Shikuchi, Ugami-san said, casually throwing out even more outlandish explanation than the one measurement problem.
Orbs equals search result. Number 221090004. Class Wizardry, Martial Arts. Title Shikuchi. Shikuchi, or Shortened Earth, is a martial arts technique that allows the user to close the distance between themselves and their opponent instantaneously, historically described as shortening ley lines, such as that 1,000 Li, approximately 500 kilometers ahead, looks as if it is right before one's eyes.
So basically, Ugami-san ignores distance as she moves, which also means she blasts a hole through the timetable tricks. Well, I guess she should apologize to Kyotaro Nishimura, sensei. I did not ask you how you came to Prague, I'm asking you why you came. Apparently, Byakuya-sama didn't care much about Shikuchi. Togami, was the World Domination Proclamation true? So what if it was? Then I shall capture you here and now. It's good to set your goalposts high, but you'll find that one impossible to reach. Ugami, step back before you get hurt. You've already been in my way ever since you were given a last name that was too similar to mine. If my words have no effect, then I shall have to resort to force. You've never had any other weapons but force to begin with. Have your muscles finally taken over your brain too? You're destroying your body with that protein. The question has been on my mind for quite a long time, but perhaps some reason behind your offensive language. Consider it a trade secret. Now, Ugami, here's my final question. Who directed you here? A foolish question. My heart lies with Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy. It's often said graduating from here will guarantee you success in your future life. And so it's a symbol of hope. All the first-class talents of all fields are gathered here in this Academy of Talent. We were all enrolled in that extraordinary school. Now then, I shall stop you as you have requested. Ugami-san began to rotate her tree trunk-like arms. The Tenshi-jo stands. Byakuya-sama reclined in his chair, as if advertising the time he had to spare. A fatal stance said to have been developed by Masutatsu Oyama. I suppose it's appropriate enough to use in a fight against me. Byakuya-sama, do not panic without my permission. If you're truly blue ink, then start your observation immediately. You don't think we're about to die? Ugami's goal is nothing more than capturing me. She's going to leave openings so that we can take advantage of. You, from the third-rate conglomerate. Sorry, I dozed off. Hiroki-san raised his head. Is your superpower battle over? We're right at the climax now. I shouldn't have asked. I will award you with this job. You're going to break this deadlock. You're giving me a reward? Are you just going to let me be captured? Yada yada daze. So you're just milking me for all I got. But contrary to his annoyance, Hiroyuki-san quickly changed gears and pressed down on the gas pedal. Laughable. Ugami-san stopped the car again, but this time perhaps because she had been in a stance, she used both hands. It doesn't matter what stance it is, even if she can't put it into action. Sis! Click. Then the girl whose existence I had completely forgotten about, Yuika-san, in the passenger seat, pressed a button next to the car navigation system that had a skull on it. How retro. I heard the sound of a machine activating from behind me. A silver pipe that I couldn't describe as anything but a jet engine appeared from out the back of the car. Dun da da da! Don't you ever talk shit about German cars? There are a whole lot of Benz manufactured weapons thanks to the Nazis. Cars and aircraft too, of course. Do they really make jet engines? As if dispelling my doubts, the wail of something like a high-frequency engine rang out. Unable to withstand the extra energy, the body of the car rattled and shook. I could hear a creaking noise. So much for the Mercedes being known for its sturdiness. Alright then, so you want to try stopping at a jet engine with your bare hands, Miss Super High School level? The Mercedes took off. No, it shot off. But, do you think this horsepower is a match for me? Everyone in the school knew that Ogami's nickname was the Ogre. Just as the name implied, her arms were as powerful of those as an ogre from a fairy tale, and her muscles were freakishly prominent. How should I say this? Ogami-san was fighting against a jet engine, and winning. She was starting to push the car backwards. This second wave! Click. Yuika-san pressed the skull button again, and a second engine appeared. Da 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 da! If pushing buttons doesn't work, then just push more buttons. Boom! Off! As soon as Hiroyuki-san pressed down on the gas pedal again, the world in front of the windshield became white. The road, the sky, the landscape, Ugami-san, everything had its contours stripped away by the tremendous speed, moving faster than the eye could see. I'd forgotten to buckle my seatbelt, so I was thrown around the car, bumping into things left and right, but thinking about how Byakuya-sama and I were both fugitives now, I was happy. Part 10. Going by my original plan, right about now was when I was going to start explaining the differences between the Czech Republic and Czechoslovakia, and between Budweiser and Budweiser Budvar. But I don't think I'm going to be using that plan anymore. The atmosphere in Prague had completely changed. It had to have been around 100 people. The citizens had banded together shouting. Shoddy, apparently hastily constructed flags bore a large X over the words World Domination in Czech. Demonstration, huh? It hasn't even been that long since the proclamation, but I guess the Czech people are pretty sensitive to the threat of war on the horizon. Hiroyuki-san drove the Mercedes slowly, observing the masses. I remembered the parade that had been causing a stir back in Japan, and I felt a little worn out because of it, but then I spotted one of my classmates in the crowd, so I decided it wasn't the time for that either. Characteristic sanpaku eyes, pink hair dye, teeth pointed like fangs. The super high school level mechanic, Kazuichi Soda. Soda-san wasn't taking part in the demonstration so much as he was hiding in the crowd. But his mere existence there was confusing enough. Byakuya-sama and Princess Sonia had a reason to be in Prague. Soda-san may have been Princess Sonia's classmate, but there was no reason for him to come there with her. Was there? Princess Idiot was bad enough on her own. Byakuya-sama watched the still small demonstrations through the car window. Hey, little master, could you keep it down a little? If those guys find you, that could have some serious, real tragic consequences. Togami does not hide with a tail between his legs. You're acting pretty high and mighty for someone who's just running away in nothing but a towel. Is that confidence really justified? The only justification I need is the fact that I am a Togami. Nothing else is certain except Togami. I heard that your Togami family has a pretty odd inheritance system. There was a moment of silence. What are you trying to say? You were a powerless little boy, but if you got to become the heir to the Togami family because you put in insanely desperate amounts of effort, that's real impressive. So what are you trying to say? If you were able to deliberately climb that high in ranks, I wonder what world domination, is that your ultimate goal? Do you have any more Pilsner Urquell? Why? I thought this is the time I might apply the bottle itself directly to that sponge you call a head. Byakuya-sama snorted, displeased. Don't lump me together with those who live their lives with no potential. Don't lump me together with garbage fascinated with lackluster dreams. I'm not even in their vicinity. Oh, I don't have any more Pilsner Urquell, but how about a satellite phone instead? I'll let you borrow one. Prague had been isolated. Whether it was because of the satellite crash disrupting the signal, or whether it was the doing of the imposter in some way or another, phone and internet service had been cut out. But maybe a satellite phone could be used to contact Japan, though I never would have thought that the Ketoin conglomerate would have one. Well, if that's the case... sorry to interrupt, I cut in. But if possible, could you lend Byakuya-sama some clothes as well? Don't you go butting in, Byakuya-sama chided. If you're blue ink, then you should be busy writing. As I was trying to tell you when we were interrupted before, sometimes you try to act sassy, but listen up. If you think you can get away with that just because you're older than me... allow me to give you something, said a voice so small that it was startling. It was Yuika-san. She opened the dashboard compartment, dragging something out of it, and then said in a voice devoid of emotional inflection, Ta-da! It was a Sailor Fuku. Is your sister mentally challenged? What, rude? I wish I could get to wear her Sailor Fuku. Hiroyuki-san was offended by something entirely different. Then how about this? Yuika-san pulled out a black tuxedo, and the atmosphere in the car became even more off balance. Right about then, someone appeared in the rearview mirror, a girl carrying an electric guitar on her shoulders. When the Mercedes pulled over to the side of the road, she knocked on the passenger window. Yuki-san, your dog's back! The girl shoved her head through the window when it was opened, admittedly much like a dog would. Praise me! I floated like a quetzal and stung like a red circle Najinata sawfly. Aren't those both endangered species? I wasn't talking to you. She gave Hiroyuki-san a dangerous look. For now, here's my report. I chased off Sonia Nevermind's crew. Her gaze slid back towards the two of us in the back seat, and her expression changed to a smile. How do you do? Your well-being is of utmost importance. Call me Taiko Kanai. I'm a cattle slayer. cattle. Fear not, I cull the weak. Okay. Pieces of trash became trashier. Tissue becomes flimsier. I, Taiko Kanai-chan, bring defeat to all of the weak, and bring hell to each and every one of the defeated. The girl called Taiko tried to climb into the open car window, but her chest made it difficult, and she let out a sound that was something like, "Ugh, guess that's where having a nice rat gets ya." Hiroyuki-san shrugged his shoulders. We're headed towards the hideout. What are you going to do, Taiko-chan? No slaughter? A young sir here may have had an imposter pop up, and that guy may be taking over the world and all, but this has nothing to do with me. Sure, I got my hands on the number one most important person to the Togami family, but it's not going to get over my head. It doesn't look like he's going to tell you about the secret to Togami family's prosperity. Wait, you Taiko had lost it all of a sudden. Yuka-san, what's that sailor fuku? This is a very serious situation. It's mine. What are you going to do with that? Why do you have such a precious gem? Don't tell me you're putting it up on eBay. Sailor fuku all night long? Oh, thank the Lord. Well, I'll buy it if that's what it is. If you could get it vacuum packed, that'd be great. He has no clothes. Yuka-san elegantly gestured to indicate Byakuya-sama still wearing nothing but his towel. Oh, so if you don't have any clothes, then you get Yuka-san to give her his sailor fuku? That's the rule? Thank the Lord, then I'm ready to become eligible. I just gotta strip, right? Just gotta strip. Taiko-chan started thrashing about for some reason, stuck halfway into the car. This is, of course, an incredibly conspicuous scene. The demonstrators noticed something was amiss, and from back there, it didn't take long for their gazes to travel towards Byakuya-sama sitting there in the back seat. We'd been spotted, and in the worst possible way too. Chants resounded in unison. Fluttering flags, countless eyes, voices. Voices. Voices of the people drawing nearer. The demonstrators surrounded the Mercedes, closing the distance between us. And then, as if some invisible taut string that had been holding them at bay had been cut, they surged forward all at once. Hiroyuki-san floored it. The force caused Taiko-chan to slip right out of the open window she'd been sticking herself into. She quickly got to her feet before being assaulted by the crowd. Part 11. The Mercedes would have just ploughed through the historic capital, but the other cars and the reignited protesters impeded our movement. I tried to activate Borgs before I remembered that the connection was cut out. I couldn't guess at our enemies' locations. For someone like me who was all too reliant on Borgs, it was almost as if I had been blindfolded. The Mercedes adeptly manoeuvred around any obstacles, getting some distance between us and the demonstrators, but the roads were too complicated to gain much speed. The town was lined with cute stone houses. If I thought about it, my mental image of Prague had been limited to what had recently been constructed there, but it was a town with a long history spanning back to when it had been a fort city. It was a war capital, built to prevent enemy invasion, in that Praguean sky. There was a flying baby. A completely jet-black baby was flying as if it was crawling through the air. I think that probably wouldn't understand what I'm saying, but I'm just telling you exactly what I saw, and this is all I got. Incidentally, there were a gap running down where the baby's eyes and mouth should have been, making it look very eerie and absurd. Upright bizarre. When I'm faced with absurdity, relying on Borgs is just a reflex. If I was just doing a search, I could at least do one using the local data.
Borgs equals search result number 227855571. Class height. Title TV Tower Babies. Information. TV tower 216 meters or 709 feet high, erected during the communist era, rises above the cadastral district of Ziskov in Prague 3. The resume change was followed by an image change, and to renew the outside of the TV tower, giant babies were installed, as in the search term. Incidentally, the American TV channel CNN ranked the tower 4th on its World Ugliest Buildings list.
Empowered by knowledge, I regained my composure and a hypothesis popped into my mind. What if Soda-san, the super high skill level mechanic, could make the Prague Tower babies fly? But why would he do such a thing? Princess Sonia? Soda-san? What was everyone doing? Did they betray the academy? Why didn't they tell me? Were they planning on killing me? The flying baby turned in the sky before doing a nosedive towards the Mercedes. Its face split in half and something long and thin came out from the middle of it. "That's a machine gun!" Hiroyuki-san shouted. Machine gun? I couldn't handle the idea of him going so far out of his way to try and kill us. I felt like throwing up. Taka 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 taka. The sound of the gun firing was less intense than I would have imagined. What even? Hiroyuki-san turned the car sharply to the side, going for a U-turn. The turbulence only made me feel even more sick to my stomach. The Mercedes turned a corner into a shopping district, ignoring the traffic lights. There the citizens of Prague were going about their daily lives. A leisurely shopping trip, a relaxing date, a man hitting up the bar, a couple holding hands as they walked, a mum pushing a stroller, more citizens tirelessly protesting. A Mercedes zooming through the shopping district drew a lot of negative attention. We were subject to a lot of critical looks. Until the flying baby showed up, that is. The civilians looked up a bit at their local landmark, flying through the sky with a mix of bewilderment and incredulous laughter. The flying baby, apparently unconcerned by the civilians, began firing at the Mercedes again. Taka 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 taka. No way, was the one who cried out. I hadn't thought that it would turn out like this. Without any basis for the assumption, I'd been convinced that they probably wouldn't get any civilians involved, or they'd probably only do that as a last resort. Why would I ever think that? This world is full of the brim of murderous intent, and the value of life is surprisingly cheap, and it's too easy to pile up in the corpses. I've seen it myself. In the course of avoiding a rain of bullets, the Mercedes spread in a rain of blood. The baby in a stroller tucked into an eternal sleep with blood as its blanket. Kids in shorts who were missing over half their heads. A dead student with a mouthful of pizza that was covered in red something. Whether it was a ketchup or blood, I couldn't tell. Bit by bit, this normal scenery of Prague was becoming abnormal. The flying baby kept making casualties as it closed the distance between us. I could see it clearly in the rearview mirror. Third-rate conglomerate. Byakuya-sama opened his mouth. What happened to your jet engine? Well, about that, we can only use it once. Don't show your trump card right away. Or if you do, then at least make sure you have something even better hidden away. Oopsie, my bad. Wait, oh dearie, a pincer attack? An armoured car was coming towards us from the front, at a speed that would probably kill anyone who set foot on the road. No, it was already getting multiple people caught up in the fray. It was Princess Sonia inside the car. She was killing people, no matter who they were. Going forward, death was going to keep coming to lots of people worldwide, wasn't it? I was seized by the most terrible premonition. Do you have any moves left, third-rate conglomerate? Well, I did use my trump card, but why don't we just try scraping past the armoured car? That does seem like a move from a third-rate conglomerate would think of. Go down that side road. Why? Third-rate conglomerate should shut up and do as I say. Crying out loud, it's just third-rate conglomerate this, third-rate conglomerate that with you. I don't care if it's third-rate, a conglomerate's still a conglomerate. Hiroyuki-san kept grousing, but even so he turned down the side road. Byakuya-sama gave directions whenever we came to a fork in the road, and before I knew it, we'd escaped in pursuit. Both the abominable flying baby and the ruthless armoured car were nowhere to be seen. Why? I asked without thinking. Isn't it obvious? It's because I was guiding us, Byakuya-sama said, his face missing its glasses. Byakuya-sama, where are your glasses? You mean the glasses with the transmitter on them? I threw those away. Huh? Hand me a replacement. Right away, sir. I immediately took out a pair of glasses. They're probably attacking those glasses right about now. By transmitter, did you mean? Stop and think about why they would leave my glasses intact when they stole everything else from me, down to my shoes and my underwear. Those glasses might have been insurance. They were thinking ahead to my escape. I have a question. I'll allow it. If you knew about the transmitter, then why did you leave them on? The transmitter guaranteed that they would appear before me. Then I might have had the chance to defeat them or extract information from them. I don't enjoy playing defense. But, protested the softer side still left of me, if you had just thrown away those goddamn glasses right off the bat, wouldn't the townspeople still be alive? Of course, I knew that it would be pointless to speak in hypotheticals after the fact. It wouldn't have been any different from saying, it would have been better if you had done this, or you didn't need to do that. They were just my impressions that I could safely share as an outsider. We'd both lived through the worst incident in the Togami family history, so we both knew that amassing a mountain of corpses was the only way to survive. We'd do whatever we had to. If there was a spoon in our jail cell, we'd use it to dig a way out. If we had guns to our heads, we'd keep smiling until the moment the bullets were in our brains. That's just how Byakuya-sama and I lived. Part 12. Fittingly, when we were travelling with someone named Midnight Sun, it was a nightless summer. By the time 8:30 rolled around, I thought it might finally start getting more dim, but it seemed true darkness was still far off. Pilsen. At the time we reached this town near the German border, the sky was still light, and the slight drowsiness and fatigue and jet lag stacked on top of that led me to lose all sense of what time it was. In Pilsen, there was a factory owned by the manufacturer of machinery called Skoda, not well known in Japan. Even a third-rate conglomerate's got to have some business partners. Hiroyuki-san pulled into the Skoda auto factory, revealing an underground tunnel. I recall that Pilsen had the most expansive network of underground tunnels in all Europe. We got out of the car and started walking down the long tunnel until we reached an area about the size of a gymnasium. Fluorescent lamps dangled down from the ceiling, and in the corner a screen partitioned off a bedroom with a desk, an incredibly bare-bones shower. Perhaps it was slightly spruced up bomb shelter. "This is my hideout," Hiroyuki-san's voice echoed around the room. "When Skoda Works was dismantled, the Ketoin conglomerate bought part of it, and we've been pals ever since. We got this hideout in a vintage tank in the deal too. What type of tank was it called again? Something the German military confiscated and used as their own." LT-35, I answered. The name for it in the German military was LTZ-T-35, though. My lady, could it be that you're a military otaku? The type that gets rabid about sharing obscure offhand trivia? I'm not getting any information off the top of my head. I'm getting it from here. I tapped my right eye with my fingernail. It's an artificial eye. And what a beautiful eye you have. Which one? Well, both of them. Was that developed by the Togami conglomerate, I wonder? It's an information retrieval library. I call it Borgs, but basically it's an encyclopedia that updates in real time. It has also documentaries, it has dictionaries, news, current events, maps, it has a lot more too. Don't take this the wrong way, but couldn't you use that to make a call yourself then? Also, call it a library, yet you didn't call it a Babel? The data is displayed directly in my field of vision, so it has a perfect augmented reality technology, and takes the place of a universal goggles. Also, it was when Borgs was losing his eyesight and living in a world of perpetual dusk that he began residing in a library. Well, goodness me, your naming sense is just a goldmine of high society dilettante wit then, isn't it? Ryuki-san cried, so I decided to take the opportunity to look him up. Beep, bop, boop, bop, beep, beep, beep. Disclaimer, it doesn't actually make a noise like that in real life.
Borgs equals search result number 87654321. Class conglomerate. Title Ketoin conglomerate. A conglomerate originally founded by Simon Ketoin Sr. and then finished by Simon Ketoin Jr. It is not talked about in relation to the typical 8 great conglomerates, but instead tops the list of underworld conglomerates. Ketoin, Hurricane, Daiguchi, Sakura, Ozawa. However, details are unknown.
That's all I could get, as long as I was offline. The Skoda-made tank had way more information available on it. Hiroyuki-san, the head of such a small-time conglomerate, had at one point obtained some cigarettes and beer. It's illegal for minors to drink and smoke, I tried warning him. Oh, they'll just change the cigarettes into Chupa Chups in the anime version, so don't worry about it, Hiyuki-san said, blowing out smoke. I can handle them adding some original characters, and I won't even get mad if they wrap up the whole story in one season. What are you talking about? These days they crack down on video games and even more on manga than anime. Fucking Zero is like, veteran levels have not even been able to take a joke. What are they even thinking rating a family game ages 18 and up only? Do you want me to look it up? Should you be really using that Borgs of yours to go surfing the net like you're grabbing a midnight snack? Oh. Huh? What is it? You aren't using Borgs to research lewd words every night, are you? Like clitoris. I didn't say a word. Or Bartholin's glands. Just kill me now. Well, while we're talking about the word lewd, in your opinion, do you think it's hotter if you write it in hiragana or katakana? I'll know what I'll search for, a way to shut you up. No can do. Whatever I say I do, it can't be censored by Zero or Vidarin. Oh, sure, there's going to be those folks out there who feel like it ought to be a taboo to even have the slightest mention of child neglect or child abuse or sexual abuse, but it's been over a decade for us now, where that's practically all we ever do. Hey, that third-rate conglomerate, hurry up and get the satellite phone ready. At some point, Byakuya-sama had taken a seat at the desk, dressed up in a black tuxedo. Just to make him look even more suave, he had stuck a rose in his lapel. The way he looked sitting in the chair, legs crossed, pushing up against his glasses, was also super suave. Yuka-san was on the bed next to the desk wearing a nightcap, fast asleep. I guess it was time for the young lady to get her beauty sleep. Perhaps she was much as comic relief as Byakuya-sama was eye candy. Hiroyuki-san set the laptop-style satellite phone, said, "Help yourself," then disappeared into the shower room. There was the sound of running water. Alright, he had been drenched in beer, hadn't he? It was just the two of us. Feeling awkward for some reason, I started trying to contact the Togami family, but... Wait, a stern voice halted me. Byakuya-sama, are you thinking that the imposter already made their way into the Togami family? The very idea is ludicrous, but you couldn't say that the imposter is top-notch at their Grandparent Scam game. We must proceed with caution. What about Pennyworth-san? He couldn't possibly get confused with you and an imposter. But if I were an enemy, I'd target him before anyone else.
Dogs equals search result. Number 00481837. Category, persons of note. Title, Aloysius Pennyworth. Information disclosure level 2. A butler who formerly worked for the Togami family. Survivor of the worst incident in Togami family history.
He's one of the few people that Byakuya Togami is willing to open up to, which made him all the more of an indispensable asset to the Togami family. But at present, he has retired from the front lines of service and is currently running a members-only butler bar. In a sense, Pennyworth-san was Byakuya-sama's Achilles heel. In the event that the imposter struck first, going, "Oh, I'm so alone and helpless, where," might advertise our vulnerability to the enemy and turn out poorly for us. Now that Pennyworth-san had left the Togami family, we couldn't expect him to have the power to assist us. But manga and TV dramas had told me whom students like us could turn to for help when we couldn't rely on family. Our friends. Using Borgs, I pulled up the directory for Byakuya-sama's classmates. The 78th class. And started contacting them through the satellite phone. Hello? There was no video or audio response. Japan was 7 hours ahead of us, so it was 3:30 AM over there, but high school students still in the thick of puberty had no reason to be asleep yet. Since why would they need to get up early on a Saturday morning in the middle of summer? And yet nobody picked up the phone. This must be it. What if by some chance Byakuya-sama was scorned by his peers? Certainly his personality was pretty rough around the edges, and it seemed that he was given all the flaws of a corporate character could possibly have, but I never would have thought he would be quite this friendless. I felt like a mother who had only found out that their child was unpopular when she intended bringing her parents to school day. The Togami family's future looked bleak. I kept calling down the list, but as I thought, there kept being no responses. Names kept getting knocked off. Next on the na section. Naegi. That's enough, Byakuya-sama said, most likely feeling a little stung. Contact Hope's Peak. There was an option. I used the satellite phone to ring up Hope's Peak hotline instead. Hello? Is anyone there? Please respond. Anybody. Just through a female voice. Hey, is really bad here. Hello? Hello? The audio and video were both heavy with static. What a cheap product. That's a third-rate conglomerate's work for you. Byakuya-sama clicked his tongue. As he did, Yuika-san abruptly sat up in her bed like she was Linda Blair in The Exorcist. Still wearing her nightcap with a pom-pom on top, eyes still apparently closed, she twitched her tiny nose. Achoo! And then, after that refined sneeze, she went back to sleep. Now that I was paying attention, the static from the satellite phone had completely disappeared, hadn't it? What the what? Hey, hello! Heard the other person's voice. Hey, can you hear me? Say something if you can hear me. I don't care what you say, just say it already. I hear you, this is Hope's Peak Academy, correct? Where are the teachers? Is everyone alright? Oh, cut out with the questions. I'm seriously at the end of my rope here. A single girl appeared on the satellite device. She had extremely gaudy coloured hair that was tied off to the sides of her head, and an incredibly show-offish bright red nail polish. Her prominent cleavage had its own gravitational pull that defied description. She had been very attentive to her appearance, from her eyes, to her mouth, to her nose, to her ears, down to each individual eyelash. Showing off charming people, she seemed to crave that, and one and only that. She seemed to aim for that and only that. And so having such a creature appear on screen made me feel lightheaded all of a sudden. Fashion, mag, charisma, the platonic ideal of girlish aspirations, the super high school level Gyaru, Junko Enoshima. Part 13. You might hold some doubts regarding Hope's Peak's stance in accepting a student because they're an amazing Gyaru. It's frequently misunderstood, but what Hope's Peak is looking for is first-class talents. Taking that to its logical extreme, you could say that the entrance exam for each student is only focused on a single skill, and whether that one skill is being super high school level Gyaru, or perhaps a super high school level Hikikomori, or any other overlooked personality. There's no problem at all. Well, I imagine that a super high school level Hikikomori would have to be expelled the instant they actually showed up to class though. Oh hey senpai! It seemed as if Enoshima-san could see me too. Sup, could you buy me some more Pocky? Huh? Pocky? I'm so glad that you called. I'm seriously so relieved right now. I could finally live my life in peace. So can I talk to you for a sec, senpai? It's super bad. You totally have to come to school to save me. Enoshima-san, I'll forgive you for not showing the proper respect toward your upperclassmen as long as you listen to me. I'm in the Czech Republic right now. Do they sell Pocky there? I don't know, do they? It's in Europe, right? Correct. What's the capital of Europe? If I had to answer that question, I guess I'd say Paris? Anyway, that's why I can't come save you. Are there any teachers there? I couldn't get in contact with anyone else. Do you know if they're okay? Anyway, why are you at the school in this hour? Well, hold up, time out, you asked too many questions. Huh? That was only 3, wasn't it? Only? Are you saying that there's only 3 to you? I'm a little crunched for time myself. I don't think I'd see any teachers around here. Maybe you couldn't get into touch with anyone else because the signal is jammed? And we're here in Hope's Peak because we thought it would be safe. Wow, I answered all 3 of them. Yay! Say hello to the smart and cute Junko-chan. We? There's someone else there with you, isn't there? I myself am with Byakuya-sama right there. Byakuya-sama? A melancholic face appeared on screen, probably having blown Enoshima out of the way. Round glasses like the ones Kenzaburo Oe or John Lennon wore. Unmistakably sickly coloured skin. Long braids stretching out like snakes. The super high school level literary girl, Toko Fukawa. Hold on, why are you there? Her voice sounded like the condensation of all the gloom in the world. You don't have some ulterior motive where you can assume you can end up on a rendezvous with Byakuya-sama, do you? I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you for living it up in the space between composure and passion. Now, calm down, Fukawa-san. I'll forgive you for not showing the proper respect before your upperclassmen as long as you calm down. You homewrecker, you Nekomata salacious schoolgirl. Be gone, evil spirit. May the power of Christ compel you. I'm only here with him to write Journey Under the Midnight Sun. Did you say Journey Under the Midnight Sun? I hope Kadensha is writing up a lawsuit right now. It's not a rip-off. Anyway, Journey Under the Midnight Sun was published by Shueisha. So it really is a rip-off. Byakuya-sama, could you back me up here? Huh? He disappeared. While I was distracted, Byakuya-sama had moved chair and all over to the far corner of the hideout. No amount of distance between us makes any difference, Byakuya-sama! Fukawa-san's smile filled the screen. I may be short-sighted in general, but when it comes to searching for Byakuya-sama, I have 18-2 eyesight. That's even better than the Masai people. But... Fukawa-san opened her snake-like eyes. Byakuya-sama, what happened? Why are you wearing those clothes? A tuxedo? Are you rehearsing for our wedding ceremony? That's why you went to Prague? Byakuya-sama, how about we practice for the consummation too? Actually, today, I'm around the best spot in my cycle for conceiving. Fukawa, I have 2 orders for you, Byakuya-sama called out from the far distance. First, from today onwards, you are banned entirely from sharing any information on your ovulation with me. Second, as the super high school level literary girl, you are to explain your current situation to me in 100 words or less. 1 a.m. Riots broke out immediately after the World Domination Proclamation in Prague. Sensing danger and seeking more information, I sought shelter at Host Peak, meeting up with Junko and Oshima. We did not witness any other students or instructors. Traffic regulations were heightened to prevent congestion and phone service was suspended, so we used the satellite phone within the school to make contact with you, that's all. What riots? I would have loved to pleasured with you with a detailed explanation on that point, Byakuya-sama, if I were able to do so. Pleased me? Not pleasured. Don't mistake one for the other. I would have loved to have pleased you with it, but we ran to the school so quickly that I didn't know much about it. My deepest apologies. I'm prepared for you to tie me to a urinal or even to a Spanish donkey. What were the riots started by the general populace? I don't really know that. However, I heard the people rioting talking about locked rooms. Locked rooms? What was that supposed to mean? Get the way out of here, you filthy nerd. And Oshima-san punted Fukawa-san out of the way to reappear in the screen image. Sorry if I keep you waiting. Dear readers, let your emotion be stirred by the reappearance of the pretty Junko-chan. What are you doing? That hurt. That's my line. You messed up my hair. Unlike your scuffy braids, my hair is actually killer. Gyara girls are so annoying. Even your hairstyle is as fleecy as a spring cloud. Thanks for the compliment, Fukawa. I was trying to compliment you. If you say so, I guess your literary prowess just slipped out a little. Compliments won't make me happy. Well, I guess they get along pretty well. That's a relief. Have you finished your stand-up act yet? Byakuya-sama interjected. I have something I want to ask you, Enoshima. Oh! The mysteries of my makeup routine are top secret, though. Where is your disappointment of a sister? Huh? Don't call my big sister a disappointment. Sure, it's true, but you can't call her a disappointment just because she is one. That's just really sad. You're the one who says it the most. Uh-huh. Anyway, I probably haven't seen her, not like I can really tell, because she's always blending into the background. Oh, I remembered. She just left a letter. A letter? She left it on the table. It, said, I wish to defend this planet. What a dork, am I right? Did she go back to masquerading as a member of the militia just so that she could sense some conflict somewhere? Oh, she totally loves defending the planet and virtue and all that junk. Actually, Togami, are you worried about us or something? Did you think you could let her be your bodyguard? Say what you like. Incidentally, Enoshima-san's elder sister is called Mukuro Ikusawa-san. The super high school level disappointment. Wait, hang on. The super high school level soldier. That's it. That's the one. Actually, I heard about it. Your Domination Proclamation. Inoshima-san smoked. You're really rocking out there, Togami. The teachers, probably can't even shut about it, right? When I realized this tight-ass 78th class had a boy like you in it all along, I was so surprised. Just like my jaw hit the floor, I felt like I finally got to see the real you. Inoshima, are you going to help me out with my plan or not? I can, totally help, but, what do you want me to help with? Wait inside the school until the surrounding area is confirmed safe. What? But waiting is such a pain. I don't even want to hear about the whole waiting list problem. I'm not saying that you should stay put in one place. There are two things I want to do inside the school. Even an airhead like me could keep two things in their brain. Your brain is pathetic. I could introduce you to a doctor. Ah, if you're saying you have a neurologist friend, then I've already got that covered, so I'll pass. So, what do you want me to do? First, if you encounter any of the instructors, tell them that I am innocent. Well, that was easier than I was expecting. Second, investigate the school. Why? Inoshima-san tilted her head. I guess I had to be the one to talk about this. Listen, Inoshima-san, I still can't say for sure, but this incident, the possibility that the students from my year are involved. Seriously, Academy? Then, well, how come you didn't know about it? Are they freezing you out? It's because I'm Byakuya-sama's possession before anything else. Ooh, that's actually kind of sexy. When they say that, I can sense the seductiveness of someone older. As Enoshima-san squirmed, I could hear Fukawa-san flinging a string of insults from off in the distance. Anyway, they might be involved, I said quickly. The evidence is that Sonia-san and Soda-san are here in Prague. Seriously? Academy too? No, I don't actually know either of them. They both killed people. Say what? Killed? Isn't that, super bad? Even under her heavy makeup, I could tell that the blood was draining from her face. But she did have a point. To use Enoshima-san's words, this was super bad. This was probably even more super bad situation than the parade, the biggest scandal to rock Hope's Academy since its inception, and an incident that was already making waves worldwide. And this time of all things, this super bad situation had gotten to Byakuya-sama involved. Okay, gotcha. After a short while, Enoshima-san nodded. I'll seriously do whatever I can. What are you guys gonna do? We'll pick up the gauntlet that they've thrown down, that's all, said Byakuya-sama. I shall take claim and victory over my imposter, return to Japan before Monday, and attend classes as normal. I'll stake the Togami name on it. Wow, you're so cool. Enoshima-san applauded. I was deeply moved by Byakuya-sama's proclamation, and gave thanks to my destiny. That allowed me to write Journey Under the Midnight Sun. That's right. There's no way we could lose. Absolutely not. Fundamentally. Back then, right now, and from now on, he will win. He will win and keep winning. Byakuya-sama is a god. I noticed the ceiling in the hideout trembling slightly. That's right, the Skoda Auto Factory above us. Were the production lines still going on Saturday? I had a lot of integrity to keep up going even after the proclamation. Skoda. I ended up remembering. With Czech surnames, similar to Japanese name Mitarai, basically meaning lavatory. There are a lot of other names that have specific meaning. For example, you might think I'm joking, but Smetana, the composer of Daimoldu, actually means sour cream. Skoda is a fairly popular Czech surname, but of course it means something too. It means a pity. Hey there, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this super long episode. This is just the rest of chapter 1. So right now, let's get into those Translators Notes. Herenshi Gakuen is a classic erotic manga, which Sonia references. Ken Takakura is an older Japanese actor who starred in many Yakuza films. Raining Blades is a quote which is from Ryuji, which is also a Yakuza film. Sonia references a Red and Green Jacket, which is a reference to Lupin III or 3. I have not seen it, so I don't really know what the name is. Akira Ishida is Togami's voice actor in Japanese, so when Sonia says, "Is there more than one Akira Ishida?" that's like pretty meta. And she also references Ace Attorney, so, well, obviously everyone knows what Ace Attorney is, but if you don't, it's another popular murder mystery video game series, which is kind of like Danganronpa's predecessor, which is made by a different company, pretty sure it's Capcom. So, Japanese title is Gyakuten Saiban, which is literally turnabout trial. So, yeah, if you think that lends more meaning to it, then that's the context for that. Next up in Translators Notes, yada yada daze. This phrase is both iconic to Haruki Murakami's writing and to Jotaro Kujo of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is also explained by Hiroyuki in the dialogue. Basically it means like good grief, but since it's phrased as a specific reference or meme, it's more well known among English speaker fans of the Japanese language media, so that's why they left it intact. Psycho Pop, which obviously is, if you're a big Danganronpa fan, you'd know that that's the term described how the main atmosphere of Danganronpa is described. Now, the Goring, Ribbentrop, and Hacha, sorry for the butchering the Czech pronunciation, I have no idea how to say it. Well, actually, they're German, not Czech. They were Nazi officials who met with Hacha, who was the president of Czechoslovakia. Hacha signed the country away to Nazi Germany in 1939 after passing out during intense negotiations, and he was given an injection to bring him back to consciousness, but that's pretty much what Google says. Krutek is a Czech cartoon character. He's a mole. He saw some popularity in Japan. Nazidravi is Czech for cheers. There's also Czech used in the Domination Proclamation, which means like good evening and goodbye as well. I can't remember exactly what they said. The Shengxian Zuan is a quote from the Biographies of Divine Transcendence, and it is given in the text in original Chinese inside of the actual novel. Obviously you can't really see that in a audiobook form, but the text in the quotation marks in the following paragraph, which is what Borges describes it, is pretty much just a rough translation. Kyotaro Nishimura sensei is a Japanese mystery author who writes a lot of novels with a heavy travel element. Anyway, the most important thing is that many Japanese travel mysteries use transportation timetables as evidence. A timetable trick refers to that. Tenshi George and Masutatsu Oyama, sorry again for the pronunciation. Masutatsu Oyama is a famous karate master, and it uses the kanji for heaven and earth, up and down. Boom off, which is, Hiroyuki uses the word departure, which is usually read as shupatsu, but he said depatsu instead, using an alternate reading of the first character. This is apparently an Ibaraki originalism, so although it's translated as something like blast off, but not quite, I wanted to take note that it's not necessarily incorrect. Sanpaku literally means three whites, and it refers to the whites of someone's eyes being visible above or below their irises, in addition to either side of them, and it has many negative connotations towards it. It's also something that if you're doing 3D modeling, you don't want to have the whites of the eyes above and below. That's just something pointing out. A red circle Naginata Sawfly. Now, you have no idea how many takes I did to try and get that right, which is an obscure Japanese sawfly in the Xylidae family. And in Japanese, Xylidae sawflies are colloquially known as Naginata sawflies, after the traditional Japanese weapon. Now, Borgs and Babel. So we're getting into the important sort of stuff. So John Louis Borges was an author who wrote, among many other things, a short story entitled The Library of Babel, about a library that contains every possible book of a certain length. books, became blind over the course of his life while serving as the director of a library himself. Now, CRO and Veteran. CRO is Japanese video game rating organization, and it's pretty much the equivalent of the ESRB. Veteran is a Japanese nickname for Neva, or Niva, which is also a video rating organization that ensured compliance with Japan's mosaic-happy obscenity laws. I'm sure everyone knows when some people hold hands, you gotta censor that with the mosaic. Hiragana and katakana, those are two different writing styles. Hiragana is for mostly like Japanese words, and katakana is the symbols used for like foreign words. Now in this, the question is, ecchi is not, that's normally written in katakana because it's actually the Western letter for H, but they pronounce it ecchi, and so they naturalized it, and it's pretty much a Japanese word now. And that has specific meaning to English speeches, as borrowing back from the Japanese usage as the standard script from hiragana, and is also applicable. It's also possible that the ecchi and H is short for hentai, I suppose. That's just me saying that, so don't take that for granted. I haven't even looked it up, and that's just something I thought of now. A grandparent scam. Now in Japan, as the ore sagi, or the it's me scam. Now this is a scam where people on the phone, they pose as a relative and insisting that they are in an urgent situation and need money transferred to them right away. And it normally involves a grandchild to the elderly, who are more senile and distant from their grandchildren and eager to help. Which is why the closest English equivalent is pretty much just grandparent scam. Now, a gyaru, we all know Junko in English is the ultimate fashionista, but in Japanese, it's actually, her talent is actually quite different to fashionista. It's something called gyaru, and I'm not going to have a long-winded explanation of what that is. You can just look it up, Gyaru. It's pretty interesting, so go have a look up that for yourself. And now the last Translators Notes. Kenza Boroi, I think I just butchered that completely again. He's an author who has very round glasses. And a Nekomata is a Japanese cat demon. Speaking of cats, my cat is currently trying to ask me for food. Kodansha and Shueisha are two pretty key Japanese book publishers. If you go to a Japanese bookstore, you'll normally see they have a Shueisha and a Kodansha and a couple of other sections. Because in Japan, they don't order books from titles or alphabetical orders, they order them through the publisher. A Maasai is an ethnic group from Kenya and Tanzania whose traditional semi-nomadic lifestyle has supposedly helped them develop much better eyesight, able to see and identify things from up to 1.5 kilometers away, which is pretty anecdotal. Now, a Spanish donkey, which Fukawa describes, is actually a torture device for women, which has been adapted to BDSM purposes. I do not recommend looking up a Spanish donkey if you are under the age of 18, or if you are an actual sane person. Daycare waiting list problem. And the word here is used wait, and here is also the beginning of the phrase describing a Japanese societal issue, where daycare slots are limited and waiting lists are extensive. And now Junko's exclamation, which says "Seriously Academy," here is actually Majisuka Gakuen, which is the name of a Japanese TV drama. And Majisuka is a slang term with the lines of seriously. So Junko basically says it's a combination of her reaction along with the media reference. So yeah, Seriously Academy.